In terms of data collection, I just want to take the members of parliament and the public through the documents that are collected from each school regularly and the data that is then collated from these documents. So on the 5th of each month, a monthly statement, the ManStat, is submitted. This document keeps track of the number of school days for the month and reasons for school closures, as well as student and teacher absenteeism and the registration of students. The quarterly statement, the two-stand formulaire, is due on the 1st of September, December, March, and June. This document provides teacher information, including qualifications, and the division of students over groups and years. The number of students on the December quarterly statement is also used to calculate the subsidy for the following school year. The June quarterly statement of the following academic year is used to finalize student numbers, which then results in the final settlement of the subsidy for every school board. At the end of the school year, the final document, the Doorstroom, shows the flow of students, so promotions, retentions, and the placement within secondary schools, and that is submitted within 1 week after the closure of school, usually in July. Furthermore, the various forms of exam documentation and the annual reports from the schools provide information for the State of Education report as well. In addition to the data compiled from these documents, data is also collected through meetings with the relevant stakeholders within the education sector, interviews at school level, surveys, and lesson observations conducted by head inspectors. We'll go into a bit more of the deep dive of the data that has been collected over this period, 2020 to 2022. For primary education, there are 4 school boards managing 11 primary schools, of which 4 are Dutch language of instruction. Division Public Education manages 5 primary schools, of which 1 is a special education school, and 1 public school is in its final year of phasing in a Dutch language of instruction stream. We take a look at student count in primary education. In 2020 to 2021, there were 4,303 students in primary schools. This number declined to 4,094 students in 2021 to 2022. The data does reflect indeed a decline in student count across all school boards. Regarding gender parity, there was a decline in the percentage of girls in primary schools between December 2020 to December 2021, while the percentage of boys increased. Consequently, though, you see when you look at the student overview in primary schools that there's a decline in the number of boys by 97 from between December 2020 and 2021, as well as a decline in the number of girls by 112 students. Student count per school for that timeline also showed a decline across the board, with the exception of Prince Willem Alexander, with an increase of 2 students. Obviously, there was some significant student absenteeism in primary education during these years. So during the academic year 2020-2021, student absenteeism peaked in the months of August, October, December, and June. And for the academic year 2021 to 2022, the peak months for absenteeism were December, January, and June. Promotion and retention in primary schools. Data shows for that time period that there were 189 students who repeated in June 2021 and 178 in June 2022. 3,810 students were promoted in June 2021 and 3,712 in June 2022. As for social promotion, 274 students in 2021 and 177 in June 2022. This report also measures the inflow to secondary education from primary education. And we can see that the flow of students from primary to secondary schools showed that 43 students flowed into St. Martin Vocational Training School in June 2021, and 23 students flowed into that school in June 2022. 188 students flowed into PBL, PKL, in June 2021, and 170 in the same month the following year, 2022. 63 flowed into TKL in 2021 and 51 the following year. 54 students flowed into HAVO in June 2021 and 44 in June 2022. 208 students flowed into CCSLC, CSEC in June 2021 and 222 in June 2022, which showed a decline in the inflow, with the exception, of course, for CCSLC and CSEC. When measuring the teacher count, so the number of teachers that operate in our primary schools, we do see a decline as well from 410 teachers in 2020 to 2021 to 393 in 2021-2022. In public education, the teacher count increased from 131 in 2020-2021 to 134 teachers for the following academic year, 2021-2022. The Seventh-day Adventist School maintained its teacher count of 29 in 2020 and 2021 and the following academic year, while the Catholic School Board had the largest decline, 12 teachers leaving that school board across this academic period. When delving deeper into teacher statistics, we look at teacher nationality. Nationality among the teaching corps shows that across that period, we had 239 teachers with Dutch nationality from 2020 to 2021, and 241 teachers carrying the same nationality the following academic year. Whereas there were 171 foreign nationality teachers in 2021-2022, and 152 the following year. Sorry, 154 the following year. Teacher qualifications in primary education. In 2020 to 2021, there were 205 teachers with a bachelor's degree and 203 teachers carrying the same degree the following year. In 33 teachers with a master's degree in 2020 into 2021, and 26 teachers with a master's degree in 2021 to 2022. 36, apologies. There were 164 teachers with various credentials in 2020 to 2021, and 142 the following academic year. In primary education, 91% of our primary education teachers were female, 54% carried a Dutch nationality, and 59% possessed a bachelor's or master's degree. Teacher absenteeism per school board showed that for that time period, absenteeism among teachers are lowest overall for the Catholic School Board and the Seventh-day Adventist School Board for 2020 to 2021. The highest rates were in the Protestant School Board, while the MAC School Board had the highest percentage of teacher absenteeism in December 2020 and May 2021. Per board for teacher absenteeism, in 2021-2022, there was an overall increase in absenteeism compared to the previous year. All school boards had the highest percentage of teacher absenteeism in January 2022, but we have to bear in mind as well that SARS-CoV testing, contact tracing, and quarantine measures were still in effect at that time.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
One, production of unverified automated ex officio assessments. Currently, business ex officio tax assessments are automatically generated without additional verification. Moving forward, we will explore methods to enhance the accuracy and oversight of these calculations. Potential approaches include sampling-based verification to ensure the reliability of the assessments, IT application control testing to evaluate the accuracy of the system's calculation and identify potential errors or inefficiencies. Implementing these measures will help ensure that ex officio tax assessments are both fair and accurate while maintaining the integrity of the tax system. Number two, inadequate understanding of individual business circumstances. The report noted that assessments do not always reflect business-specific conditions. This is an area that requires further evaluation to determine how best to refine the estimation process. Number three, outdated ICT systems, the SIA tax system. The current tax system is outdated and poses a significant risk to tax administration. If it were to fail completely, tax operations could be severely disrupted. Efforts are already underway to secure a new tax system which will provide better functionality, accuracy, and efficiency. Passwords not regularly changed. The tax authority acknowledges the findings in the report regarding the absence of a mandatory password change requirement. This matter has since been discussed with the head of IT to ensure compliance with modern cybersecurity protocols. While this is the case, the risk of unauthorized access to sensitive information remains low. Access to the SIA system, which is an application installed on the employees' laptops, requires prior authentication. Tax employees must first log into their laptops using a password that is routinely changed and subject to specific complex requirements. Since the SIA system is only accessible after a secure login to the device, this adds an additional layer of protection. Nevertheless, IT security remains a top priority as we must continuously work to prevent hacking, phishing, and other cyber threats that could compromise key taxpayer data. Ongoing evaluations will be conducted to further strengthen system security and ensure compliance with best practices. Number five, lack of integration between the tax office, the receiver, the census, and the Chamber of Commerce systems. Interdepartmental data sharing remains a major challenge. Currently, there is limited system integration, making real-time updates difficult. These system integrations are also a key part of the eGov Trust Fund project. While the receiver's office has recently received viewing rights within the tax system, the ultimate goal is to establish seamless data integration across all relevant agencies. The following measures will be implemented in response to the report's findings. These measures address all recommendations of the Audit Chamber's report. 1. Development of written policies and work instructions. Clear guidelines will be established in collaboration with the head inspector for determining reasonable estimates in ex officio tax assessments. 2. Exploring automation of individual tax assessments. We will assess the feasibility of automating individual tax assessments to allow tax assessors to review cases more efficiently, thereby reducing workload and to assess in a more timely manner. Sampling of ex officio tax assessments. While each ex officio tax assessment may not be individually verified by another tax official, an annual sample review will be conducted. The findings from this review will be discussed internally to serve as a learning tool for tax assessors. Taxpayer education and awareness sessions. Sessions will be organized to educate taxpayers about their obligations and provide guidance on correctly filing their taxes. Over the past 2 years, tax-related sessions during Financial Literacy Month have been the most attended. As promised, these sessions will be held more frequently and not limited to Financial Literacy Month, recognizing that knowledge is key. Enhancing public awareness through PR and educational content. The tax office PR's team will work on producing more explanatory videos to inform and assist the public in understanding their tax obligations. Advancing the implementation of a new tax system, efforts will continue to modernize and implement a new tax system for country St. Martin, ensuring efficiency and effectiveness in the tax administration. I would like to express my gratitude to the General Audit Chamber for this report and to the honorable members of Parliament for the opportunity to discuss it. This report highlights several key takeaways that are important to address. Firstly, ex officio tax assessments are only issued due to non-compliance when individuals and businesses fail to fulfill their responsibility to file taxes in a timely manner. Before an ex officio tax assessment is issued, the tax office provides multiple opportunities for compliance. For individuals, an invitation to file is sent, followed by a reminder. If no filing occurs, an ex officio assessment is issued, which can still be challenged by submitting the required tax return. For businesses, an invitation to file is issued, but no additional reminders are sent before the ex officio assessment is imposed. Businesses also have the opportunity to object by filing. This report rightfully highlights inefficiencies in the ex officio tax assessment process, and as indicated, necessary improvements will be made. However, we must also recognize the risk of not issuing ex officio tax assessments. Not issuing these means less tax filings and ultimately lower government revenue. It is important to remember that individuals and businesses that do not file have already violated their legal obligations, whether it concerns income tax or business. At the core of this discussion is a fundamental truth. A thriving country requires functioning and well-funded government. Our ability to maintain quality health care, education, judicial services, social welfare, and infrastructure depends on all individuals and businesses fulfilling their tax obligations.
Madam Chair Lady, the Minister of Finance has once again highlighted the, to use her words, limitations that currently prevent a good tax data collection. The Minister responded to my question regarding this matter. So my question regarding data in the budget meeting, and again highlighted in this meeting the limitations. And thus, my question in this context to the Minister is if there is anything that can be done in order to get this overall generalized tax data in terms of how the response is in what different taxes, because I believe that having that type of generalized information would be helpful as we review and discuss changes to the tax system. For Parliament, that information would be helpful in that discussion. Are some of the taxes based on what we're seeing, based on what we're receiving, are those the taxes that we need to review, change, eliminate, whatever the case may be? So the Minister had responded, Madam Chair Lady, that information, generalized information, tax information, would have to be attained by a third party. So in connection therewith, my question is, can that type of general tax information, the ongoing discussions about how many persons actually are in the tax system, how many persons are paying, so that kind of general information. And thus my question is not necessarily to be answered today, but I would appreciate receiving the answers in writing, if possible. So what can be done, given those limitations, to still be able to extract generalized tax information in moving forward with whatever tax changes or tax system changes are anticipated. Secondly, the minister has indicated in previous meetings regarding tax and tax amendments and tax changes that there is one or maybe more draft ordinances in process with respect to taxes. And so my question is, given the fact that the website of the Council of Advice is under construction, I believe it still is, and thus it is not possible to see which legislation is at the Council of Advice, has been handled, etc. So my question to the minister is, through you, Madam Chair Lady, if the status of the draft ordinances with respect to taxes can be given. So for example, which are at the Council of Advice, if any, which are back at government, if they are in that state, and if we could just get an overview of that. Again, I want to thank the minister for her responses to this particular report from the General Audit Chamber. And I ask the minister to consider with the General Audit Chamber this particular response, albeit it's an updated response, but in order to get out of the way that we have these reports and no response is being given. Again, I know there have been subsequent reports, but if the minister in this particular case with the General Audit Chamber can say, these are my responses, now let's work forward, and we can close that off. And to continue as much as possible to respond where it is asked to reports of the General Audit Chamber. Nothing I wouldn't use the word hate, but there's nothing I don't like as much as having the Parliament be told, you have these reports and you have done nothing with it. And I don't like it for the government either. So, and if it's not possible to respond to all of the issues in the report, then let that be stated. But let us use the reports of these high councils of state in a productive way. So if the minister can, on this report, kind of synchronize with the General Audit Chamber, that we get it out of the way. These are my answers. This is what I'm doing. Next report up. I take the Minister of Finance, Madam Chair Lady, has made some commitments in terms of some of the things to be done. And given that Parliament is going in the direction of holding ministers to their word with respect to things that are going to be done, the so-called commitments by ministers, if there is some type of a timeline that can be given, a realistic timeline, because I know we all would like these changes and amendments to the tax system to be done like yesterday, but we know that's not feasible. So if we can get a kind of timeline, also taking into consideration the improvements/reform that are being conducted under the auspices of the TWO, so the Landspaket. And Madam Chair Lady, I don't know through you if the minister is aware of the comments from many members of the second chamber who also receives the reports from the TWO, and they are not, to use a Dutch phrase, te spreken in connection with the most recent way of reporting from the TWO. It's nice. I have seen it. I don't know if Parliament got it, but I have definitely seen the latest reports. It's nice in terms of visuality. But, and I want to agree somewhat with those members of the second chamber who believe that it is not giving you the essence of where things stand with these different projects as part of the lunch packet. In fact, some of the members of the second chamber suggested that the TWO and the government of St. Martin go back to the previous way of reporting. But in any case, I think what I would like to see from the reporting is a realistic timeline with respect to the priorities of the government of St. Martin. So the elements of tax reform that are important for the Minister of Finance and the government of St. Martin, let those things be highlighted, be kind of pulled out of the process of the TWO and given priority. So if somehow that can be worked out, I know it's going good and we have all of these themes and reports, but the priorities of government should again be stressed with the organization of the TWO.
Are you Asset V insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? Asset V is cardless. Request your My Asset V account today and enter the virtual office of Asset V. Go to assetv.sx and sign up now.
Asset V, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
A parish status dominated headlines inside the courthouse this week. And Thursday's throne speech provided another opportunity for the government to outline its plans for Portmore in the 2025-2026 fiscal and legislative year. Portmore's infrastructure, they say, remains a top priority.
The Portmore Resilience Park is scheduled for completion by 2025-2026.
In related infrastructure plans, Western Jamaica boasts one of the biggest road projects expected to be completed within the next year.
The Montego Bay Perimeter Road is on track for completion by mid-2026.
The Montego Bay Perimeter Road could be used by some of the buses as said to be purchased for the JUTC in a matter of weeks.
Public transportation will see an additional $3 billion investment with 100 more buses. Procured and slated for delivery by July 2025.
That investment in power-efficient buses forms part of the government's renewable energy plan, a move likely to expand with a major international partnership.
A memorandum with the Canadian Nuclear Laboratory will explore nuclear energy integration.
Jamaica's healthcare sector is also expected to benefit from the additional renewable energy investments.
The US $4 million energy security investment will install 6,368 rooftop solar panels across 6 hospitals and 16 government facilities, saving 5 million kilowatt hours annually.
And staying with the health sector, experts in the past week warned that the closure of USAID could have dire implications for Jamaica, in particular the HIV and AIDS fight locally. But the government says it will build on last year's work.
In 2024, Jamaica achieved a historic milestone by eliminating mother-to-child transmission of HIV on congenital syphilis.
The government also claimed Jamaica is the safest it has been in 20 years and pointed to the 16% decrease in murder so far in 2025 and the 19% decrease in 2024 as proof. Nakinski Robinson, TVJ News.
So I'm here on Duke Street for the ceremonial opening of Parliament, and things are just about to get started. I'm actually among some People's National Party supporters. As you can see, they're out in their numbers here on Duke Street, and I'm going to find out just why are they here and why is this important for them.
It is very important for me to be here because Parliament will be opening after 10 o'clock. And our Prime Minister, Comrade Jefferson Mark Golding, will be the next Prime Minister calling the election.
There's some disunity in the People's National Party. Do you think that will affect the polls going into the next general election?
No, because everybody going to unite. Everybody going to New York, and we want the change. We want the change, so everybody.
So I will now hand over to my colleague Jamila Maitland, who is with the Jamaica Labour Party supporters. Reporting from Duke Street, I'm Kelisha Williams for TVJ News.
Thanks, Kelisha. Now there's lots of excitement here on the opposite end of Duke Street as Jamaica Labour Party supporters, they're ringing their bells and marching to the beat of the Tivoli Gardens, marching back. Now they're now awaiting, as you can see, the members of Parliament for the JLP to exit the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union location to make their way down to Parliament. Now the supporters, while acknowledging the opening of Parliament, are seemingly more concerned, as you can hear from the shout and the excitement about the pending general election. Well, there you have it, Prime Minister Andrew Holness leading the cohort of MPs.
Your voice is your vote. So therefore, you casting that vote, you help to put the person who you see best suitable to run the country. And look around at all the wonderful things that is taking place in the country. The various infrastructure development, all the different projects and programs put in place by this administration. You look around right now, there's no other like the Jamaica Labour Party.